Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into the latest cybersecurity headlines today.
Yeah, we've pulled together some key stories.
We're looking at news from Dark Reading, Wall Street Journal, Top Class Actions, Reuters, and Axios. The idea is to really pull out the crucial details you need to know.
Exactly. To sort of
Yeah.
make sense of it all without you feeling overwhelmed by, just the sheer volume of information out there.
Our goal is simple.
Yeah.
Make sense of it for you.
And there's a lot happening. We're seeing attacks on the attackers themselves, ongoing threats to big industries, some major legal consequences for data breaches.
And of course, the big one, AI's growing role in cyber warfare.
Right. So let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with what feels like, I don't know, bit of a plot twist. The ransomware group, Lockbit. These are the guys famous for, locking up data and demanding money. They apparently got hacked themselves.
Yeah, it's quite something. On May 7th, their dark website, the one they used to leak victim data and pressure them, it got defaced. And the message left behind was kind of cheeky. Don't do crime. Crime is bad Saxo from Prague.
Wow, okay. So the hunter becomes the hunted? Sort of.
Pretty much. It's almost darkly funny, in a way.
But it wasn't just like digital graffiti, right? They actually leaked Lockbit's own data. What came out?
That's right. A zip file appeared containing a SQL dump. Think of that as like the complete database blueprint and contents from their affiliate panel.
Okay.
And inside, nearly 60,000 Bitcoin addresses. Gives you a sense of the money involved.
60,000. Wow.
Yeah. And over 4,000 private chats they had with victims, dating from late 2024 up to April this year.
So those chats could reveal a lot about how they operate, how they negotiate.
Exactly. Tactics, maybe even mistakes they made, and perhaps most importantly, credentials, usernames, passwords for over 70 of their administrators and affiliates were in there too.
So this is potentially a huge deal for law enforcement and researchers.
Yeah.
A real look inside.
Absolutely. Vendors like Qualys and Coalition are already digging into it. It helps understand Lockbit's methods, their network, maybe even identify some people. But it's crucial to mention what wasn't leaked. Decryptors or the private keys needed to unlock files they'd already encrypted.
Ah, okay. So not direct help for past victims to get their data back for free, unfortunately.
No, sadly not.
Still, those warnings from Qualys and Coalition, telling companies to really tighten up access controls, isolate backups, they feel extra relevant now.
They really do. If a group like Lockbit, supposedly sophisticated, can get hit like this,
Yeah.
well, it's a wake-up call for everyone else, isn't it?
Definitely. It just shows even cyber criminals aren't immune if they slip up on the basics.
Precisely.
Okay, switching gears a bit.
Yeah.
There's news about that hacking group, Scattered Spider, also known as Star Fraud. They seem to be active again, this time hitting UK retailers.
Yes, Scattered Spider. They have a history of pretty significant attacks. And this latest activity shows they're still very much a threat. Reports mention Harrods, Marks & Spencer, and the Co-op as recent targets.
Big names. And their main method is social engineering, right?
Hmm.
Aimed at IT help desks. Can you break down what that involves?
Sure, social engineering is basically manipulation, tricking people. In this case, they target IP support staff.
No.
Well, they might pretend to be an employee who needs help, maybe locked out of their account. They try to convince the help desk person to reset a password or grant them remote access to a machine.
And if they succeed?
They bypass a lot of the technical security. Once inside, they've been known to mess with online ordering, get into payment systems, steal customer data. Pretty serious stuff.
It's kind of scary that just a convincing phone call can cause so much trouble. Weren't some of their affiliates arrested last year, though?
They were, yes. 5 affiliates were arrested. But these groups can be resilient. You take out a few members, but the core structure, maybe the leaders, they can often rebuild or just keep going. The UK's NCSC, that's their National Cybersecurity Center, has put out fresh warnings because of this.
Shows they're taking it seriously. And the potential cost is huge, right? I saw a mention of the MGM Resorts hack linked to them previously.
Yeah.
Cost something like $110 million.
That's the figure, yes. $110 million. It really shows the scale of damage these groups can inflict, especially on big companies with lots of customer data and complex systems.
So it's not just about tech defenses, it's also about training staff against this kind of manipulation.
Absolutely critical. Ongoing training, robust authentication, especially for anyone with privileged access. You need both.
Okay, let's shift focus again, this time to the legal side of things. The online pharmacy TruePill. There's been a settlement over a data breach.
Yes, TruePill, which operates as PostMeds Inc., they've agreed to settle a class action lawsuit for $7.5 million. This relates to a breach back in late August, early September 2023.
7.5 million. And what kind of data got out? That's always the worry.
Yeah, and this was the really sensitive kind. Social security numbers, dates of birth, insurance information, basically everything criminals need for identity theft.
Oof. So who gets compensated under this settlement?
Anyone whose information was part of that breach, they're considered class members. They can file claims for reimbursement.
For what kind of costs?
Out-of-pocket expenses that are directly because of the breach, so maybe fees from fraud alerts, costs
Yeah.
for credit monitoring services, identity theft protection,
Yeah.
even things like travel costs if they had to sort stuff out in person. But there's a cap,
Okay.
up to $4,000, and you need to provide proof, like receipts or bank statements.
Right. Documentation is key. And I noticed TruePill isn't actually admitting they did anything wrong
Yeah.
as part of this deal. Is that normal?
It's actually very common in these settlements. It lets the company resolve the lawsuit without a long, expensive trial and without formally admitting fault.
I see.
But, agreeing to pay out $7.5 million still sends a pretty strong signal about the impact of the breach. The final court hearing to approve it all is set for June next year, 2025.
So people affected need to be aware and file their claims.
Definitely. And it really underlines how companies handling health data are such big targets. These lawsuits, plus regulatory fines, they act as a deterrent, or at least a big incentive to get security right.
It's a constant reminder of the stakes involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Failing to protect that data has real, tangible costs.
Okay, looking ahead now. Warnings coming from the UK government about AI and how it's going to ramp up cyber attacks.
That's right. This came up at the recent Cyber UK 2025 conference. The UK Cabinet Office Minister, Pat McFadden, presented a declassify assessment, and the prediction is pretty stark.
Yeah.
A significant rise in both how often attacks happen and how bad they are. And a major reason for this, the increasing use and availability of artificial intelligence.
So AI making attacks easier or more effective? Like,
Potentially both. The worry is AI can help attackers automate things, scale up their operations. Think about generating much more convincing phishing emails automatically, finding software vulnerabilities faster, maybe even creating sneakier malware.
that doesn't sound good. Are they seeing evidence already?
Well, the NCSC stats for last year already showed a worrying trend. Nearly 2,000 incidents logged, 90 classed as significant, 12 highly severe. They said that was about a threefold jump in major attacks compared to before.
Threefold.
Huh?
Okay, so what's the government planning to do about it?
They're taking it very seriously. There's a new national cybersecurity strategy plan, plus new laws under something called the Cybersecurity and Resilience Bill.
Right.
The core message they're pushing to both businesses and governmental agencies is that cybersecurity isn't just an IT cost anymore. It's a fundamental necessity, especially with AI changing the game.
So a real call to action to step up defenses now before this predicted wave hits.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Being proactive is going to be key. We need a shift in mindset.
Makes sense. And finally, there was talk at the RSA conference, that big security event, about another AI-related challenge, securing autonomous AI agents. What are those exactly?
Yeah, this is a really interesting emerging area. So autonomous AI agents are basically software programs designed to act on their own without constant human oversight.
For what kinds of tasks?
Things like managing inventory in a warehouse, hunting for threats on a network, maybe even handling some customer service interactions.
Okay, so they operate independently. What's the security angle?
Well, these agents become, in effect, new non-human identities on your network, like a user account, but for an AI. And like any identity, they need to be secured. They become a new potential attack surface.
Right. So what could go wrong if they aren't secured properly?
A lot, potentially. An attacker could maybe trick an agent into leaking sensitive data it has access to, or make it execute harmful commands, or even use a compromised agent as a backdoor into the wider network.
So it's like having an employee account compromised, but the employee is an AI.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah. The potential impact could be just as bad or worse, depending on what the agent can do.
And companies are already working on solutions for this. You mentioned 1Password and Okta.
Yes. Identity and access management companies are rolling out tools specifically to manage credentials and permissions for these AI agents. It shows how fast the industry is trying to adapt.
It's needed, it seems.
Yeah.
Are these agents becoming common?
The predictions suggest rapid growth. Deloitte, for instance, reckons about 25% of organizations will be piloting autonomous AI by the end of next year, maybe 50% by 2027.
Wow, fast.
Yeah. So for CISOs, the security chiefs figuring out how to secure these agents is becoming a top priority fast. You don't want these powerful tools turning into major vulnerabilities.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive. We looked at the surprising hack of Lockbit itself,
Right, the attackers getting attacked,
then Scattered Spider hitting UK retailers using social engineering,
still a potent threat.
the big True Pill data breach settlement, $7.5 million.
Highlighting the costs of breaches.
Then the UK government warnings about AI fueling more, and worse, cyber attacks.
A definite future challenge.
And finally, this emerging need to secure autonomous AI agents as they become more common.
The new frontier of identity management, really.
It's quite a lot to digest.
It is. But all these things are connected, you know. It paints a picture of a threat landscape that's constantly shifting, getting more complex. Staying on top of these trends is just, well, it's the first step to defending against them.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening to mull over. With AI becoming this double-edged sword helping defenders but also arming attackers, what do you think are the most critical, maybe fundamental changes organizations need to make in their cybersecurity strategy in the coming years?
That's the big question, isn't it? Definitely something to think about as we navigate what's next.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the latest cybersecurity news. Until next time, stay informed and try to stay secure out there.